what's that? Fine! I'm gonna go make my own island with all the best food!
Did you say food? Take me with you!
No! Wait a minute, I just realized I can't breathe underwater!
Hello, my fellow hunters. May I ask one question? What exactly is the Guiding Lands? Where are they? What is their purpose? Well, let's muse as to exactly that, because I want to. I thought it'd be fun, I guess. So, what do we know about the Guiding Lands? Well, there are three key components here. We know physically what they look like, at least in simplistic symbol form. We know that you are going to fight Ruiner Nergigante here.
Nergigante, and I'm here to say, I'm going to get very powerful.
And lastly, that it is a full-on, or at least named as such, a region. Now, I realize that was just black screen and silence, but we'll get to why we know that a little bit later, okay? Because a good magician doesn't take off his clothes all at once. We then need to look at it as quite clearly an end game area. You fight the unlocker of rank and essentially achieve end game there. And you fight a variant, maybe perhaps the strongest variant we'll get in the form of a variant Nergigante. The easiest, obvious answer here then is it's just a multi-use special battle map, like the Ingle Isle, like maybe perhaps even the tower if they're going to build it out a little bit more. Have this area that serves as a natural arena to do glorious battle with all the most deadly beasties, just because, without really any reason or rhyme. But the thing is, if there's one thing that world does have, it's reason and rhyme. I drop in like I drop rhyme, don't have the time. Okay, maybe I put the rhyme in somewhat poorly, but the reason is certainly there. The world breathes, it works, it fits together. So the idea of them just slapping on a random battle map for the big variants, that seems unlikely. So what then is this going to be? Well, it could be a much deeper area in the hinterlands, of which the Hoarfrost Reach is a region within, so the Guiding Lands could be another. They could very well be an ancient sacred landmass, maybe known to the local tribe, the lovely little popo worshipping felines. Maybe it is something we will discover very, very deep down later in the story. Maybe it is some remnants of the ancient civilization, or maybe you are rediscovering something found but then lost by the First Fleet, which is implied a little bit through the story snippets that we know so far. The First Fleet happened on something way above their pay grade and, well, scrubbed it from records and haven't been back yet since. And this kind of works out because you do see just boats and ships and equipment snowed in, iced over, strewn about like wreckage. Like there has been an attempt by the hunters to actually make a foothold and establish some sort of research center here, but for whatever reason it got beaten back, it got destroyed, and it got forgotten about. Whether that was Velkana protecting the island, or whether it was the Everworm underneath, or whether it was a combination, neither or either, it doesn't really matter. The point is, you could very well be finding essentially the heart of the hinterlands, and it is the Guiding Lands. But the thing is, there's not really much to speculate on that front. It's just a deeper, snowy arena, yay! But what I do think is quite possible and quite beautifully tying into the story we've already gotten is Zorah Magdaros. I will be surprised if the Guiding Lands is just another snowy area, okay? We want a little bit more variety from the very limited areas we're going to get to explore. And what better way to do that than use the walking environment we cast out to sea? Imagine if the Guiding Lands is the landmass that has been created by the dying Zorah Magdaros, his shell, a new island teeming with bioenergy and thus life and diversity. Now that maybe a bit of time has passed, you could say canonically between the end of world and, well, the Iceborne expedition, we could have that start to grow and develop. And it lets you do a vastly different feel, style, and aesthetic than, well, the kind of pigeonholed snowy iciness of the Hoarfrost Reach. But how would this even really play in? How would this be? Well, a few things do really kind of draw me to liking the idea that the Guiding Lands is Zorah Magdaros' shell, or corpse, turned into a whole new ecosystem, which it was always said to do. It was said the bioenergy released by a dying Zorah would be cataclysmic, terraforming, and that has been borne out through many little bits of lore and connecting of dots over Monster Hunter's release. So, we assume then that the Guiding Lands is out at sea, to the right, hovering about. I say hovering, islands don't hover. But at the same time, what if it was a hover island? So firstly then, Ruiner Nergigante, we fight him in the Guiding Lands. What better way to justify a variant such as Ruiner Nergigante than say a Nergigante followed old Zorah out to sea, Nergi was hunting him constantly, found him, either finished him off or waited for him to die, fed, consumed, absorbed the power, and was born anew as the Ruiner, the new king of this isle. That just so neatly ties up into a bow, doesn't it? And then you look at the symbol for the island itself. It's not the biggest stretch to say it's very Zorah-y, is it not? There is a lot of parallels to be drawn there. And a part of me thinks that we are going to essentially have what is the variant arena, but in a more lore-friendly way that is Zorah's shell. You go there and you fight, essentially, let's go with tempered variants, souped up, extreme variants, however you want to spin it. Yes, they can be in their own environments, but maybe individual, much more powerful ones, well, what do they seek? More power, so they make their way somehow. Granted, not all of them can fly or swim, but still, you gotta allow for a little bit of leeway, and end up there, and then we, well, boat out to see them, say, hi! Hello! And then murder them 12 ways to Sunday and wear their skin. That would be fantastic. Imagine an endgame built around a essentially deviant system from the old games where you slowly fight stronger and stronger versions of the variants, ultimately culminating in a super extreme version fought in the Guiding Lands, which is a Zorah shell new island arena type setup. And it is the Guiding Lands, and what did we do? We guided Zorah out to sea. That's why we could have called it this. That could be its new name right here. What if Zorah, weakened and injured, actually shed his shell and could no longer support it and crawled out of it, actually slaked off the rock that had formed over centuries, and we get a Master Rank Zorah fight that is him more directly attacking us, freed of his shell a little bit faster, definitely now a full-on threat. That's kind of a pipe dream, but I think a proper air-quote Zorah fight where he's shellless, more vulnerable, but definitely more capable of deliberately killing you.
Me?
Yeah, I mean, why not, I guess. And then we get to actually do him justice too. It'd also be a good place to meet a black dragon, whether it's Elatrion from the leak or Fatalis if we go by the anniversary theory that is looking shakier and shakier, granted, but this would be a great place for Black Dragon to go because they would want to be in such a intrinsically rich of bioenergy area, and maybe the Black Dragon actually finished off the weakened dying Zorah itself before Nergigante that would become Ruiner got there. That's a little bit further afield, granted, but the TLDR is, imagine a world where the Guiding Lands is Zorah's shell as an island, as a variant arena to make up the end game of the multiple variants that we will slay that replace almost the tempered system as a way to farm, test your skills, and combat the hardest challenges. A true natural gladiatorial spectacle at its very best. There is a translation of the Guiding Lands that paints it as the land where demons gather. That does scream variance to me. To put this a little bit further then, if you remember from the start, there was a third point, and that point is it is a region, and we know this from evolving Ecology. Raise any region to level 7. What in tarnation is raising a region? What does that entail? Does it just increase the chances of rare material spawns? That would kind of be boring, but even then, how do you do it? Does it involve researching a region enough? Exploring it enough? Hunting in it enough? Surely then this implies that you can actually change or evolve the makeup, or at least the tendencies of each of the given maps, and change them into something new. Maybe this is how you unlock new variants. Maybe there is a variant one per map, and once you get to level 7, well, they come out to play. Maybe we get Shrieking Legiana by raising Horphos to level 7, or maybe it unlocks even further ones. Maybe getting the Guiding Lands to level 7 is what brings Ruin and Nergigante out, and that's tied into unlocking your HR. But either way, the implication is clear here. We can directly affect the environment in some way, in increasing stages that will likely, obviously, I mean it has to, it's a system, do something, and that something is to do with the Guiding Lands because the symbol is there. That is the one that they have chosen for it. And if it is Zorah's shell, this unstable mass of bioenergy that's constantly in flux, still exploded out because it's not been that long, maybe when you raise its level, the island actually changes. Maybe it actually develops, grows. Maybe us as hunters can only see the stage that we're at. Now that gets complicated when you have multiple hunters from different stages hunting together, so that might be a tad, again, out there. But the point is, it does very much work with the unstable nature that should be Zorah's shell land. And this is so exciting to me. An endgame of a monster hunter where you can actually affect, well, the land itself in clearly some way, and a way that is tied to the end game, tied to the variants, tied to this mysterious map that isn't a map because they said they're only going to have one, and that's Horfrost. And there is a lot of mystery and a lot of beauty surrounding this, and I for one cannot wait to find out what is happening here. What do you guys think it is to raise a region to level 7? What do you guys think will be going on there? But either way, that is my fate's conclusion. So yeah, as Iceborne draws close, I love my theories, I do. Some might be thin, some might not make sense, but all of them will be a jolly good time. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more. I will see you soon. A goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.